Welcome! I'm Mary Reedy, Director of Parks, Recreation, and Community Services for the City of Shoreline. And right now I'm joined by Linda Finch, our Recreation and Cultural Services Superintendent. This presentation you're going to watch is to help you, the Shoreline Pool Advisory Committee members, prepare for the second pool committee meeting on September 30th. The presentation will share details about pool operations. Our goal in this presentation is to help you, the committee members, understand the depth and breadth of what it takes to safely operate a pool facility that serves a diverse group of community members. You don't need to remember everything, but we want to share with you what staff, pool operators, and consultants are thinking about when designing a pool facility and its operations. Staff will be ready to answer your questions about pool operations at our meeting on the 30th, so please write them down. If you're able, however, to email your questions ahead of time to Hillary, that would be helpful, but totally not necessary. So let's dive in. While we're talking about a new pool facility, I wanted to provide some information about the previous Shoreline pool for reference. The former pool was a 6-lane lap pool, single body of water. It was built in 1971 with King County forward thrust bond measure money, and it was very much a water in the box type of pool model. A new pool facility would likely have more capacity for different types of usage, swim lessons with multiple bodies of water, including an 8-lane lap pool, recreation pool with warmer water. In 2019, there were over 118,000 visits to the Shoreline pool, which equates to about 2,280 visits per week. In addition to swimmers and class participants, there's also people that come that aren't in the water that have an impact on the building. For example, a couple of adults that may be accompanying young swimmers for swim lessons and sometimes siblings. You have caregivers who accompany people taking arthritis MS class and other therapeutic classes. A pool facility needs to support people who are both using the water and getting wet and those who stay dry and are supporting. So this slide shows the schedule from the former pool in fall of 2019. As you can see, multiple programs were able to happen at the same time, and staff were always busy ensuring that space was set up safely for all users. Swim lessons were in high demand and continue to be a #1 need named by all the community members in engagement. To give you some reference, when we had a pool in the box model, we had about 363 hours of programming each week. 17% of that programming hours were for swim lessons. At the former pool, swim lessons accounted for just over 1/3 of pool attendees, with about 800 check-ins for swim lessons per week. Some of these were for classes that met once a week on Saturdays, and some for classes that met multiple days a week. Even with all those lessons times, there were over 1,000 waitlist entries for swim lessons in 2019. Scholarships are also a key part in a municipal public pool operations, ensuring that there's equitable access for everyone in our community. With the city's focus on accessibility and equity, we want to make sure that people of all income levels could access swim lessons and programming. In 2019, 11% of all pool registrants were paid for with scholarship funds. And 51% of the city's scholarship funds, which can be used across recreation programming for youth and those with specialized needs, were for pool registrations. The city would offer similar scholarships at a new pool. The scholarship fund is currently available for recreation programming outside of pool.
Hey everyone, I'm Linda Finch. I'll be going over the next few slides. So what are the functions of a pool? A public pool is important to support water safety education and life-saving skills in the region where we live with many lakes, rivers, and Puget Sound. The previous pool had a variety of programs that helped with water safety and we anticipate having similar programs in any potential new pool. These include swim lessons, lifeguard training, CPR classes, kayaking lessons, scuba diving training, and even fishing boat safety training with life rafts. A pool has additional functions beyond water safety. Public pools are places where people also go for fitness through swimming, water aerobics, and water walking, therapy programs for conditions such as arthritis and MS, as well as injury recovery. Pools are also a place of community connection, a third place of sorts to meet others and form lasting relationships. What does it take to operate a pool safely? Operating a pool safely takes a lot of work. In the next few slides, we're going to share some of the key factors for safe pool operations, including lifeguards, swim instructors, pool maintenance, administrative support, good pool design, well-written policies and procedures, and ongoing in-service training. Lifeguards work hard to ensure that pool users are safe. Lifeguard training is very time intensive. The initial certification course is a minimum of 30 hours, and recertification is 10 hours. Those certifications need to be renewed every 2 years to stay current. There is a fee for lifeguard training. The city usually pays for city staff lifeguard training. Ongoing in-service training is also provided to guards on a regular basis to support their continued skills development. Lifeguards also take on the role of swim instructor, which we'll talk about in the next slide. In 2019, the Shoreline pool had 50 to 60 lifeguards on the roster. Some of those lifeguards were at the pool each week, and some worked on school breaks. Recruiting lifeguards and other aquatic staff has been challenging over the last decade. Lifeguard pay has become more competitive, and we need to plan for pay rates similar to Seattle's pay rates as part of the operating costs of a pool facility. Lifeguarding is a great leadership development opportunity for youth. Many young people follow a pattern from taking swim lessons to being on a swim team. Local swim team involvement often leads to leadership positions on the swim team, which leads to them wanting to work in a pool as a lifeguard or swim instructor. Some of these lifeguards go on to be full-time senior guards. Eventually, some may pursue a career in pool coordination and management. This cycle happened at the previous Shoreline pool. Without access to public swim lessons in Shoreline and reduced access to swim teams, it can be harder to create this cycle from swim lessons to becoming a lifeguard in our community. Swim instructors are essential for providing high-quality swim lessons. It takes about 25 hours to train staff to be a swim instructor. Lifeguards often also work as swim instructors, but they can't do the same job at the same time. And not all swim instructors are also lifeguards. Swim instructors need special skills and the ability to work with a variety of ages. Have you ever gotten a report card after your kid's swim lesson? A lot of work goes into filling out these report cards. Swim instructors have paperwork to do on top of the in-water instruction time. A pool in Shoreline would offer swim lessons for all ages and abilities, from babies up through older adults. Maintenance is a very complex science. There's a lot of maintenance you can see out on the pool deck, and there's a lot of maintenance that happens behind the scenes to keep a pool running safely. Maintenance that you can see are things like lifeguards and other staff removing band-aids and other debris from the pool and pool deck, pressure washing the deck, cleaning the change rooms, and vacuuming the bottom of the pool. Behind the scenes, staff must ensure that the pool mechanical system is functional and that the water chemistry is balanced at all times. Maintaining the correct water chemistry and quality is crucial for swimmer health and safety. Staff also maintain lighting fixtures to make sure they are always running. This prevents dark spots on the water and is important for swimmer safety. Adding multiple bodies of water and uses increases these maintenance needs. We're talking about having multiple bodies of water, including a lap pool, warmer water recreation pool, hydrotherapy or hot tub, and possibly a cold plunge. With separate bodies of water, it is best to design with separate filtration so that if one pool needs to be shut down, for example, due to a fecal contamination, you don't have to shut them all down. We are required to test the pool water several times a day, depending on usage rate, often more frequently during peak program times, since high pool usage can impact water chemistry. In most pools, water is tested for chlorine levels, pH, alkalinity, and hardness to ensure that everything is balanced and safe. Pools are required to have a water treatment operator on staff. This requires staff to become either a certified pool operator, CPO, or aquatic facility operator, AFO. Both certifications required a 2-day class and subsequent test. There are also advanced classes for higher levels. We currently have 3 AFO certified staff members and would need to maintain these certifications if we're opening a new pool. A pool typically needs to be fully emptied every few years to do maintenance and repairs. There is also long-term maintenance for the pool facility systems, including the boilers, filter pit, and chemical systems. The types of systems that you choose to install impacts the ease and efficiency of future operations and maintenance. It is important to remember that a pool mechanical system runs constantly and problems can happen at any time, and it is important to be prepared to respond at all times of the day. While lifeguards, swim instructors, coordinators, and maintenance staff all run a pool, they are supported by administrative staff and structures. We aim to have a welcoming front desk with supportive customer service at all public city facilities. A pool needs policies and procedures to ensure efficient operations and clear communications. Staff management is important to ensure that lifeguards, instructors, front desk staff, and coordinators all feel supported in doing their work. Registration systems with online, phone, and in-person options help us stay organized while connecting people with lessons and classes. Emergency management and preparedness and training help prepare staff for a variety of possible events, including power outages, earthquakes, fires, and other emergency situations.
So let's move into pool design and operations. We've talked a lot about what goes into the operations of a pool, but there's also a lot to consider about design and its relationship to those operations when considering a possible new pool. The photos on the next 2 slides are from the design team and show different types of activities that could take place in a new pool. Operating a pool takes a lot of planning and requires staff with specific skills and knowledge in order to ensure that the facility and its patrons are safe. The number of lifeguards needed is going to vary based on pool design and usage. There's regulations are set by the state for how many guards need to be present at various activities and how those guards rotate within the facility. For example, guarding lap swim is very different staffing structure than guarding a water park. A facility has to be designed with all these different uses in mind. A lap pool will have different features than a recreation pool. For instance, a lap pool may have starting blocks for swim teams, competition. It might have timing systems, scoreboards, and diving boards. Recreation pool, on the other hand, will probably have plenty of play features and splash pads, might have a lazy river with currents and more. These play and water features could potentially block lines of sight for lifeguarding and impact safety. So it's important to be strategic in placement and plan in order to have the most efficient staffing structure possible. The design of the pool also dictates, obviously, what you can do in the pool. Another consideration is water temperature of a pool. The ideal water temperature is based on the different users and activities. Some of you know lap swimmers typically want water a little cooler. Whereas when you're teaching little kids how to swim or doing therapeutic recreation in the water, you want the water a little warmer. Air temperature in that natatorium in the pool also needs to be considered as one aspect of the experience of the user. Air temperature should be approximately 2 degrees higher than the water temperature on average. So when thinking about a future pool, we want to be able to serve all ages, a variety of usage and activities, and have features that ensure there is something for everyone in the facility. So at this point, you've heard us talk a lot about pool operations in this video. As a city, operating a public pool involves a lot of risk management. Everything that has been described so far plays a role in that risk management. There's financial. It is more expensive to lower your risk when designing and operating a pool. Better design costs more and lowers risk. Having more lifeguards on duty costs more, but also significantly lowers risks. We have to think about physical safety in relationship to risk management for things like lines of sight for lifeguards and change room designs. Risk management should be in the forefront of everyone's mind for staff and the committee throughout this whole process. So this brings us to the end of our presentation, and we want to thank you so much for watching our presentation on Pool Operations 101. Our goal of this presentation was to help committee members understand the depth and breadth of what it really takes to safely operate a pool facility that serves diverse community needs. We talked about lifeguards, swim instructors, maintenance, administrative support, and safety and risk management. How the pool is designed impacts all of those factors. We imagine that you're most likely going to have a lot of questions after you watch this presentation. Staff's going to be fully ready to answer your questions about this at our meeting on September 30th. So please, as I said earlier, write them down. However, if you are able to, please send them to Hillary ahead of time. It would be helpful, but not necessary. Thanks again. Look forward to seeing you all on the 30th and having more discussion on pool operations.